Happy Monday morning. Thought I would get my second video done. The last one has not had many views, but it's all started, so it's good. I have already hit the roadblock of thinking I need to post something. I want to post something. What do I post? And it's proving quite difficult, but I think that will come with time. I've got loads of things I could probably talk about, but I think you get in a bit of a head funk about what it is you should talk about. Why would anyone want to listen to this? But I think the premise is just get on with it. So start of a new week. I thought I'd just I don't know, tell you what I'm going to hopefully get done this week, what I'm doing today as a portrait photographer in Hertfordshire. So being the start of January, I usually find it quite inspiring, actually, getting back into the cliche of New Year. But I enjoy that feeling of feeling like it's new beginnings and leave 24 behind you and plan for this year. Trying to get done the things that you want to achieve. So I've sort of thought of a new approach to all these ideas I have and jobs and projects and things I want to do. I'm trying to be a bit more analogue in the last couple of years with my note taking and planning, rather than being app based, computer based. Obviously my work is all on the computer, but when it comes to my thoughts and ideas and to-do lists and plans, I've been analog for quite a while. So I always carry like a notebook with me in order to scribble down, which I found really useful. But one of my challenges is I have a lot of ideas and a lot of things I will want to get my teeth into and start. Some are good ideas, some are my way of procrastinating and getting in my own way. So it's trying to get those down on paper and prioritize them. So I'm for now I've decided what I'm going to do is note them on bits of card like this. So these are just record cards. I think you get them in the shop, they're cheap. Sort of like these things, like £1 for a million of them. Cut them in half, so you create these little slips here. And the idea is whether it's a project idea, a photography idea, or some sort of business, not side hustle, I hate that word, but sort of different string to the bow of the business, something. If it's got its own subject matter, then they're going to go on one of these cards, and then I'm going to write things down on their ideas to do, and then that way when I'm looking on my table, I can see them as a four. I can see the different things, I can move them around, prioritize them, and then I'll probably get them up on the pin board and have them there. And then I'll probably realize quite soon, actually, that one's just a time waster. That's just me trying to do anything other than the things I need to get done the day to day. So that's been quite useful. There's a couple of projects here. One of them is a project I want to do locally, a portrait project, loosely based around the idea of which is something we're going through as a family, or thinking very strongly about with the fact that we've got kids, is the idea of smartphones and how they're quite impactful on kids. So we're going through that. Our kids are young, but the question of should I, when can I have one, and all this stuff, and how we as parents want to deal with that. So I've got quite strong opinions on that. And so that made me start to think about the childhood I had as a kid and what all the things we would do when phones didn't really exist. Computers did, computer games and all that did, but we weren't addicted to those things. So it's, what were we up to? What were we doing? Our parents weren't really worried about us when we were out for 5 hours down the park, or kicking a ball around, or going through the woods and all this stuff. Which makes me feel a bit like I sound like my dad when I was young. He was probably moaning at me for the little bit of computer games that I was playing, telling me to get outside. But I feel like it's heavily shifted now. So anyway, that made me think about, is there a way of capturing that essence of youth, nostalgic youth, that applies today, to give a feeling of it's all right for kids to be out, it's all right for them to get muddy knees and explore and kick a ball about and throw sticks and, you know, all those outside activities or clubs and things that they do that are offline, that are not part of the social media world. I've been thinking about how I can, how my photography can pull that message forward. And the reason I want to attack more projects like this, just out of my own mind, doing it for my own reason, my own portfolio, is because I feel like that's the way that you improve. Obviously, I'm here to work and earn money, and you know, I will take paid commissions and jobs, etc., which is obviously based around what the client wants, mixed with what I do. But for me, these projects, these give you a reason to maybe photograph something a bit different, or photograph a scenario which no one else is going to give you that opportunity. So the idea is to do that for its own sake, for its own benefit, or my benefit. And obviously you don't know where those things will lead to, what doors they will open, who you will meet in the process of doing it. So that's a big part of my 2025, is these ideas that I have, not to swamp myself with too many, but to really try and get them down on paper and actually plan and execute it. It's too easy to think of an idea that I think is good and then never actually do it, and they just go on the shelf. Life moves on and you come up with more ideas and more ideas that you don't do. So I'm trying to use this system to see it clearly on the paper. When I've got one idea, it's on there, got another one and another one. By virtue of just seeing them in front of me written down next to each other, I can probably go, actually, I ain't got time for that, I don't want to do that. And hopefully I help clear my mind and give me a bit more focus when it comes to that stuff. So that's one of the things. There's a couple of projects on there. Another one of them is my background in photography comes from pre-digital. Well, not pre-digital. Digital existed, but not at the rate it did and took off to. Grab a coffee. Everything was analog. Everything was film, darkroom, printing, developing your own film. So I did that at college and then at university. And then obviously when I left university to go into the workforce and studios in London and stuff like that, it was digital, which is great, but I left behind a lot of my love for film photography. So that, well, this is two-pronged, I suppose. Two things. One is I'm getting things together so I can shoot more film. Again, probably more for me and more for experimentation, and just the fun of it. But also I've got quite a library of film negatives that I haven't looked at for years and years and years, and I want to digitize. So I've been slowly accruing the equipment I need to digitize them, so then maybe I can print them more efficiently. I don't have a darkroom, I don't have those facilities, so that's one of my things. So last year I bought from one of these, from the Essential Film Holder company. So this is, after doing lots of research, this is a way of digitizing my negatives. So it gives you a mount that allows you to slide your negatives through here, have them here, and light them from underneath. And the idea is that you're going to photograph. I'll photograph them using my camera, using my Nikon, to give me high resolution, effectively photographs of negatives that then you will flip, and they'll be digitized. I did buy a scanner as well, a flatbed scanner, but having sourced that and finally got it sent to me through Facebook Marketplace, the more I thought about it, I wonder if that's the best. It might technically be better. The people that do scanning all the time might say that that's a better way of actually digitizing negatives, but I think the process for me feels like this might be a way that I can do and set up in here, spend a day and digitize a section of my old work. So I've watched a lot of Kyle McDougall, I think it is Kyle McDougall. I'll put it in the description, a link to his channel. But his work has been really inspiring. He's predominantly a film photographer, or maybe exclusively from what I've seen. Really, really, really interesting work. Different to mine in the sense it is landscape, but I've seen in there him shoot some portraiture as well, which is again what I used to do with my film camera. So that's been really inspiring, and again has created this thing in my head. I want to do that. I want to get on with that. I want to do that. Is it going to bring me any money in the initial? No. So it has to be prioritized. Hence, again, going back to this sort of card system way of me looking at everything in front of me and deciding, do you know what? I haven't got time for that now. I need to do this. But for me, that's a real strong want this year is to really digitize my film photography and also shoot more. So I'll show you what I use. I've even bought the film, some initial film. So I went and got some Ilford HP5 120 film. So I got 5 rolls of that. So this is my Bronica SQA, which I got when I was at university. It's in absolute gorgeous condition. And this is what I shot lots of my portraits on. And to be honest, it's sat here quite happily on a shelf for years and years and years. And it needs to be used, because what's the point? So I'm just trying to find that way that I can do it economically without breaking the bank. But I think I've got everything in place now, enough to shoot. I can develop my own film and then dry them out and then scan them. So yeah, that's something to maybe that's something I will document on here. Maybe that's of interest to people. I know there's a massive following of film photography and people developing at home on YouTube. So maybe that's something. What else was I going to talk about? I wrote down a few notes. So yeah, what am I doing? So yeah, this week it's catching up with editing from pre-Christmas shoots, stuff that I didn't get done before Christmas. I'm finally back in the studio getting things done, so it's just playing catch up a little bit. Get those back to the clients, have another think about my plan, really work on this, and just try and get 2025 down on paper so I can really prioritize what I want to do and attack it. But there we go, that's video number 2. Hope you like it. Hope you like my thoughts. Please comment, say anything. I'll reply to anyone that comments, ask me a question. But again, still trying to figure out what this channel is about exactly and how it's going to be, whether it's me sat here or out and about. I think there'll be when I'm on set or doing any shoots and stuff, I'll hope to get some behind the scenes and bring the channel you along for that. So yeah, anyway, see you later.